Virtual reality at its finest. The chance to meet new friends and new foes to battle to the top in a world in which one's imagination could only wish to conjure. Enter Chrono Life. The game starts. As a beginner, rejection will come in all forms. And in this case, being able to join a party with low stats as expected from a beginner is almost impossible without gaining rank by leveling up. The leader of the tiny knight screams hell no to piss off in a brutal fashion when our main character asks to join his party. Gauging the game lobby finds a pretty face with a battle-scarred swordsman behind her and decides to take his shot at joining their party. She is sweet in every way. Even in her rejection, she apologizes, stating this room is for only the experienced players. From one leader of a party to another, coming in all shapes, forms, and sizes, throw rejections at our main character. Even to the point where a bratty kid brushes off the main character and advises he gets his equipment levels at least in the double digits before he ever asks to join his club again. Surrounded by so many yet so alone. Emotional damage. Witnessing everyone in groups enjoying themselves in conversation and getting ready to start their respective games, our main character begins to fume in anger. Unable to restrain his distaste, he yells out into the ether that he hates this game and everything it represents. Eyes starting to water, he curses the game he had longed for, not realizing he is drawing attention to himself. Others stare in embarrassment at what appears before them. Some whiny guy cursing up a storm in the form of a monologue. They laugh at him, deducing he is nothing more than a petty and weak outcast. As people begin to walk away from our main character, and his outcry claiming the ignorance of all who had rejected him, he proclaims out loud how powerful his sword is and anyone would be lucky to have him join their party. Our main character just so happens to attract one person's attention as he continues his obnoxiously loud monologue, stating how much he paid to obtain his mighty weapon at the game store. Dejected and hopeless, with his head hanging low, our main character does not realize what stands behind him. Until now. Beautiful and almost majestic in her presence, the beautiful girl calls out to our main character. Stunned initially by her beauty, he nervously asks her who she is. She inquires if he has already joined a party, and if not, if he would like to join her and go on a light mission through the forest. He's stunned. Finally, an opportunity to prove himself, and it comes in the form of an offer from the most gorgeous woman he's ever laid eyes on. Funny as he went from cursing the existence of Chrono Life to proclaiming it to be the best game ever now. Walking through the forest, our main character and the majestic girl converse and get to know each other. The girl hangs on to every word he speaks as he gloats about his quote-unquote conquests. He is even braggadocious in stating how much of his parents' money he has spent in the game store. Still showing amazement in her eyes, the majestic girl asks how much did our main character's parents give him to spend. As if he accomplished some massive feat, he states he spent $55 on the novice warrior package. He draws his sword with pride and points out to the girl that knight's sword was part of the bundle he purchased, and claimed its might. She stands amazed at our main character with a glow in her eyes. She states how impressive he is and even goes as far as to compare him to a superhero. Just like that, it hits him. Right through his chest and into his heart lies Cupid's arrow. Stunned that someone so beautiful views him in such a way, his mind races as he visualizes the future. He imagines them going for strolls in the park with their fingers interlocked, enjoying each other's company. Arms wrapped around each other and locking lips for the first time, completely in love. He can see where he proposes to her, right on the edge of a lake as the sun is setting. Why stop imagining there? He can already see the photos from their wedding as they are portrayed with complete elation on their faces. Even goes as far as visualizing their first child together with stars in his eyes, already thinking of what to name their firstborn. As he snaps back from his daydreaming from the sound of a majestic girl stepping on dry crackly grass, the girl states in excitement that they have finally arrived at the point in the forest where the mission is to begin. Confused as he stands in the middle of a forest with nothing appearing before him in the form of a mission, he turns around to inquire what exactly they are doing. Before he can get his head all the way around to look at the majestic beauty, she takes her staff and stabs our main character right through abdomen as the staff makes it all the way through his torso. Shocked and stunned in complete disbelief as he spits blood from his mouth, his health meter goes off like a siren, signaling that his health meter has taken a catastrophic blow and is in danger of losing his life. He drops flat on his back after the majestic girl pulls her staff out from our main character. The brutal reality of what just occurred hasn't fully hit our main character as he stares up at the girl and struggles to get all his words out, asking why she would commit such a heinous act against him. He is losing blood quickly and shouts out again, "Why?" She stares down upon him, no longer with a majestic presence. There is something sinister about her gaze. Our main character panicking as she smiles, not answering his original question, he blurts out that she must be after his mighty sword. Laughing in the most demeaning way possible, she belittles the power of his sword and refers to him as an absolute bum. As if one could be more stunned after being stabbed right through his midsection, he stares in shock, still unaware of the cause of her treachery. She reveals her intent from the time she first called out to him was to end his life. She also states the reason why she brought him deep into the forest was because there were to be no witnesses of the act she committed. Our main character is not displaying the best awareness as he questions if there was even a mission that she really wanted him to join her in. As if he was still holding out hope that something good could come out of this. She laughs at his apparent stupidity and says of course there is no mission. She clarifies that someone like her would never be seen with someone as low as him. As he got up to his knees, the statement he heard hit deeper than the staff that protruded his flesh. She continues shaming him by inquiring if his failures in this virtual reality reflect his failures in real life. She finishes off her statement by letting him know he is nothing but a scrub. She is quite the dirty bird. In a sarcastic manner, she advises him to go back to mommy and daddy and get some more money to at least upgrade that mediocre weapon that he cherishes so much. She further shames him by pointing out his laziness, as she refers to him not only having a weak base weapon, but not even doing what it takes to upgrade it. She stops to take a breather from verbally abusing our main character and remembers that he initially bragged about using his parents' money to buy the novice warrior package. She hits him with her final verbal blow and points out that if the money his parents were able to give to him was only able to net him a novice package, that they just like him are nothing but scrubs. He felt it. Her tongue sharper than her piercing staff. He stands on one knee, gathering up what little strength he has left to speak. With rage emanating through his eyes, he demands her to end her trash talk. He follows up saying to never mention his parents in such a way and refers to her as trash. Before he can close his mouth after speaking, with lightning speed and precision she delivers a fatal blow, severing our main character's body in half. His blood paints the grass and her face as she once again refers to him as trash and is nothing more than a scrub. He's done for and defeated. Dead. A notification bell sounds from the skies as the majestic girl has completed her mission. 1,000 kills achieved. The notification states that she has been elevated to what is called the secret job class. The density of the air around her changes as her hair is changing color from a dusty blonde to a jet black. A light begins to form and surrounds the majestic girl completely. And as the light begins to dim, there appears the majestic girl in her upgraded form. Her gear, weapons and skill ratings have all skyrocketed, even growing wings. She is now classified at her new level as Goddess of Life. With no regard to our main character's body laying just about dead and split in half, the majestic girl, now known in her new form as the Goddess of Life, takes an opportunity to stretch. All those kills must have her muscles sore and tight. With complete disrespect, she walks not just over but on our main character's corpse, as she reminds herself that she has but one task left to complete to finish her overall mission. Our main character has an epiphany, and declares, "Today, I understand what is true, victory only comes to the mighty." The game alerts our main character, as he takes his last breath, that he is dead. Here in Chrono Life, once a character has perished at the hands of another, they will come back to life in one of the many safe zones within the game. Only catch, a portion of the revived player's experience points will have been lost. A glow appears in the safe zone with our main character's body forming back into one piece after his brutal death, leaving his body in two. Finally back into action, Our main character has a look in his eyes that differs from the whiny version of himself. He flashes back to the sequences of events that led to his falling. He sees the majestic girl laughing at his status both within the game and real life while shaming his parents for being losers. He sees the same tiny knight who gave him the bird and told him to piss off. Even the bratty kid telling him to level up before ever approaching him again. Our main character, head down and blood boiling, hits a tipping point and lets out a scream as if to clear his mind from his pent-up rage. He rummaged through his satchel and pulls out the wooden hammer of reinforcement. The power that lies in this hammer allows a player to raise their weapon by 1 point by striking their weapon with the hammer. He pulls out his sword that was shamed by the now goddess of life in an attempt to level the weapon up. He takes out his hammer of reinforcement, and with all his might strikes his sword with hopes of making the sword more powerful. Perfect strike. Or is it? The aftermath of the blow to his sword from the hammer causes the sword to split in half, no different than the goddess of life did to our main character's body. It's important to point out that if the reinforcement is not successful, the item that was to be upgraded will end up destroyed. Devastating. No way this can be true. Our main character removes his level 5 leather glove of blood and iron and takes his hammer of reinforcement to attempt to level up this item. Clang! Once again, another failed reinforcement, and another key item lost. Unable to understand what is going on, our main character begins to go hammer crazy and smashes all of his armor and battle gear in hopes to upgrade them, and by the time the hammer is laid down, every failed reinforcement has left him sitting in an alley with nothing on but his underwear. Tears running down his face and succumbing to what is inevitably true, he states, his time in this game should come to an end. He is ready to leave the game the same way he entered it, proclaiming his distaste for chrono life. Out of nowhere, a stick is thrown towards our main character as it lands right beside him. New weapon! Wooden stick! Tail of the tape for the new weapon goes as stated, for the novice of all novices, level rating, gravely low. Our main character looks up to see a very vague looking with a weird sort of optimism that could only come from a rookie. Our main character puts 2 and 2 together, and realizes the appearance of both the wooden stick and the weird-looking newbie was no coincidence at all. He asks himself out loud if the newbie is actually giving him the lowly wooden stick. The newbie, without saying a word, gives him a thumbs up to signal he is indeed giving him the weapon. Our main character is wished good luck by the newbie as he embarrassingly thinks to himself that even a rookie feels sorry for him. He actually admits it makes sense considering he is on the floor of an alley wearing nothing but tidy whities. With nothing left but his reinforcement hammer in one hand and the wooden stick laying before him, he thinks for a second and strikes the wooden stick. Well, look at that, a successful reinforcement of the wooden stick going from +1 to +2. He strikes again and with another successful +1. He wonders why is it he can't upgrade a weapon worth its salt, but yet the one of the weakest weapons has upgraded twice with 2 strikes. Just his luck. One strike after the next, one notification after the next, and has non-stop achieved successful level UPS of the wooden stick. Not believing what he is witnessing, our main character cites that the stronger the weapon is, the higher the rate of failure and inevitably destruction of your weapon with every strike of the reinforcement hammer. So naturally he believes at some point, the wooden stick would fall the same way his sword did. He bangs away non-stop throughout the evening into the next morning, unable to hold a steady grip as his hand and forearm carrying the hammer is completely drained of energy. He summoned the last of what stable strength he had left, and delivered his final strike to the wooden stick. His final notification from the game appears and alerts him of his last and final reinforcement of the wooden stick. The level of his gifted weapon from the newbie has reached the highest level. +99. Emanating a glow from the wooden stick as our main character looks at it with disbelief, he is shocked that a lowly weapon could even reach a level 99. Like seriously, how? For context, a weapon at +10 has a 5% chance of being able to level up successfully. Yet our main character was able to take the weapon from +1 to 99. Focusing so much on how the weapon reached its level, our main character, subconsciously loosens his grip, and as the stick begins to fall, he quickly attempts to catch his new weapon, causing it to spin after every missed catch attempt he makes. He finally maintains the +99 wooden stick as he is catching it falling to the ground, and as the other end of the stick makes contact on the floor, he feels the energy. Boom! The energy release from the +99 wooden stick levels the world. As in the planet, a beam of energy in the form of destruction makes its way straight all the way across the surface of the earth, and right off into space. As he sits exactly where the stick made contact with the ground, everything behind him stands as it did, as everything in front of him is completely devastated and destroyed. He wondered how? Everyone in terror was wondering what happened, as so many of their team members suffered deaths. Cries for help from everywhere as the ones alive stand in terror, wondering if there is a special event within Chrono Life occurring. He sees what everyone else sees: the continent is cracked right down the middle before him. Chrono Life servers immediately ringing as a new world record was set. The most slain players in a single event, causing the most game overs in the world's history. In Chrono Life, a player loses a reputation point for player the kill. In this case, over 850,000 players were killed off by the single tap of the +99 wooden stick. He feels the power he longed for so long, thinking once again of how the goddess of life demeaned his existence, and shamed his family before she took his life. Every loss, every rejection plays over and over as he sees his opportunity to do what he was unable to do before. Get revenge. Reinforced Wooden Stick Episode 2. With all the events that led to so many players being killed off with the single strike of his newly acquired wooden stick, he thinks back to his real life and realizes how average he really was. From a genetic standpoint, there was nothing worth looking at. He wasn't any good at sports, not the brightest in the classroom, and overall was just another guy. He even classifies his ranking in real life in terms of the classifications in Chrono Life. He gave himself an honest grade of Bronze Tier 4, which is nothing to write home about. A brand new day here in Chrono Life. Entering the lobby again is our main character, still in his underwear and wrapped in a cloak. Walking with intent through the crowd, thump! Our main character walks right into a large bald meathead. The large guy, with anger in his eyes and battle scars on his face, looks down upon our main character both literally and figuratively. He demands to know who the hell he is while grabbing him by the front of his cloak in typical bully fashion. The large man insists our main character better be more aware of his surroundings unless he is looking to die, as his girlfriend laughingly pities our main character. She tells her boyfriend how obviously scared he is and should leave the rookie alone. With no fear to show as he is being lifted by the front of his cloak, our main character tells the large man that it is best to release him and pushes the envelope further by calling him a fatty. Before the large man could even get out his next word, our main character takes his wooden stick and strikes the large man on his temple. Shocked that someone considerably smaller than him would have the balls to strike him, the large man in anger attempts to ask if our main character is even being serious, considering his weapon is just a wooden stick. But before he gets his last word out, the delayed reaction from the wooden stick finally comes to light, and emanates a source of power that sends the large man straight into the stratosphere and to his death in Chrono Life. The large man's girlfriend looks to the sky with complete disbelief that her mighty boyfriend was defeated and destroyed by what appears to be nothing but a scared little guy. Showing off his wooden stick with a firm grip, declares, he is the alpha in Chrono Life and this world now revolves around him. Cocky is our main character, but with purpose in his eyes. There is just no way life has all of a sudden made a 180. The saying goes, if it's too good to be true, it's probably not. And just like that, an in-game message appears before our main character warning him that his weapon has taken serious damage and that it will break and be useless soon. For context, the wooden stick being a beginner's weapon, even though in this very unique case has been leveled out to a +99 max, still only has a durability level of 5. All of a sudden feeling small again, our main character stares at what he thought was his golden ticket and falls back in disbelief. He wasn't joking when he mentioned he wasn't the brightest in the classroom, as he does the math in his head. His +99 wooden stick having a durability rating of 5, and he has already used his weapon twice, he deduces 3 strikes left with his mighty weapon before it self-destructs. His back laid flat against the ground, as he stares into the sky brainstorming, he comes to the conclusion that he is absolutely screwed. He thinks back again to those who rejected him and his plans of retaliation. But the thought of not being able to avenge his death to the scumbag goddess of life causes our main character to bounce right back onto his feet as he rages again, but this time more controlled. He calms his inner storm and declares he knows what must be done. 3 strikes left, and his weapon is out. He decides on his plan and begins. Night falls and our main character's plans take him to the most dark and ominous part of chrono life. Enter the abyss of death. The air is thick. The crows screech. And lightning striking everywhere. The terrain is rough and ground made up of skulls from the fallen players, and yet, our main character continues press on to his plan. Walking with purpose yet no direct sight of what exactly he is looking for, he is speaking to himself in a mumble as if this realm is causing him to act weirder than usual. His very next step, he feels the ground shake and his surrounding rumble. It increases in intensity just as our character stares down at the ground shaking as if he expected this weird phenomenon to occur. As a powerful blast from up ahead sending skulls from the ground straight into the air completely pulverized and easily mistaken for snow, appears before our main character a creature within chrono life that all know and fear. The wings on each side twice the size of the creature. 2 heads with 4 eyes on one body containing a source of energy in its chest, stares down at our main character. Each head of this terrifying creature, screaming into a different direction with vibrations echoing throughout the realm. Yet our main character stands in place no different than one waiting in line at a convenience store. Was this part of the plan? The creature speaks our language and raises his claws in the air, congratulating our main character on his misguided bravery entering his world considering he is nothing but a mortal. The creature is identified by chrono life as the ultimate boss monster, the twin-headed dragon known as Urus. Urus states that in this realm is where life and death come clash. From the outside looking in, Urus's presence is daunting, especially in comparison to the size difference between the two. Urus stares down what he deems to be the next victim. He begins to declare that our main character's path to hell is here. Before Urus could get the rest of his declaration out, the familiar golden glow that was witnessed twice before when the plus 99 wooden stick was in use, appears by one of Urus's heads. In a flash, one of the heads completely decapitated with the after smoke of the blows still emanating on the exposed tissue and cartilage. Urus's other head looks over in shock as to how the heck could this have happened. He looks down at our main character, the silhouette of the strike still present as he stares back unfazed. Weirdly, however, our main character is repeating the phrase 3 strikes left over and over. Urus the monster overhears our main character and witnesses the in-game message he received that he only now has 2 hits left. Standing tall and weapon raised, he appears more at home here in the abyss of death than the monster Urus himself. Our main character is shooting for the stars and states out loud with only a couple of strikes left before the destruction of his wooden stick, why not kill the strongest boss-level opponent in the game? Fear. Absolute fear. Urus, seeing his life flash before him, screams out begging for our main character to wait, repeatedly. Our main character stares back in disbelief at what he is hearing from the strongest opponent in all of chrono life. Urus claims the importance of what he has to say. In a much less threatening voice asks for our main character to lend him his ears for a second. He screams at the monster about how he referred to him as a misguided mortal at the beginning of their conversation. Urus, in an innocent fashion, claims he was programmed to say such and apologizes, saying the orders can't be disobeyed, knowing at that very moment that he has no decision on if he lives for another day. Urus asks our main character how he was able to achieve such power. He yells back at Urus asking when did this become an interview. He states that it just happened and does not know the reason for all the gained power, but now it's time for you, Urus, to die. Urus screams for him to wait, but it's too late. He strikes and he connects. The abyss of death echoes and the familiar golden globe by which now signifies the end for the stricken appears. Fallen is Urus, causing the ground to quake. In obvious pain and blood pouring out of his mouth, Urus witnesses our main character's in-game message, alerting him he has but one strike left before the wooden stick is destructed. Speaking to himself out loud, our main character expresses how sad it will be to return back to his normal status as the scrub. Declares if the weapon's durability was able to be upgraded that he would be unstoppable. Urus digests the words that was just spoken and sees his opportunity to possibly live. Urus asks out loud if our main character has an issue with the low durability of his wooden stick, and if so, he has an answer that would be of use. With all ears now, our main character asks Urus if he is indeed serious. In-game message: Master/Servant contract offer. Urus, the strongest boss of them all, has offered his soul to our main character. Our main character confused by the offer, as he has never heard of such an in-game contract. Urus trembles and respectfully asks if our main character is familiar with the ego's sword. Replying that he had no idea, our main character demands to know further details and that he wants it now. Urus complies quickly as he explains that his being will be transferred to the weapon of the person he is surrendering his soul to, which in turn means his body will be sacrificed. Urus details his sword would be, quote-unquote, aware, able to perceive its surroundings and feel. A weapon like no other. The highest ranked weapon of all. The ego's sword. Or in this case, wooden stick. Urus also states that the weapon would be indestructible, causing our main character to laugh in a menacing yet gleeful way. Back on track, our main character states: from losing all hope to looking up into the sky, power hungry and equating the gods and supporting his mission for revenge. Urus even more in fear after hearing our main character's monologue. He trembles awaiting our main character's decision on the contract offer. Ding! Accept! Just like that, the same purple glow that emanated through the eyes of Urus appears all around our main character with ancient symbols glowing brighter than the sun. Urus stands before our main character within the circle, and the sacrificing of his physical form disappears till completion. The transferring of Urus's soul is complete. Rank: Ego. Durability: Infinity. Our main character feels the ground beneath him shake, and out comes a large legion of Urus's species, all sharing the same glow of their former leader. The weapon is perceptive and has the soul of Urus, and which in turn means they all serve our main character now. They all scream revenge repeatedly, for again, the ego wooden stick has the ability to feel, and those feelings are passed on to those who serve him. What an army to possess! Their chants of revenge have him salivating at the thought of killing the goddess of life. He raises his ego rank wooden stick and left off a blast straight out of this planet, just getting a taste for his newfound power. Meanwhile, back in the game lobby, a gathering is formed with many players all inquiring why they were brought there. A shielded warrior declares that there has been a max threat bounty sent throughout all the country. He stands next to a wanted poster of our main character in his hooded cloak and states, he killed just under 1 million users in one day. He is evil and must be stopped at all costs. The shielded warrior screams out that the reward would be $8 million. A number that large had everyone in the main lobby already imagining life with that lump sum of money. As a different group of shielded warriors marched through the game lobby, other players noticed the crest and recognized it to be that of the guard knights of the royal palace. The leader of the sacred guild in her layered golden armor arrives. Members of the elite guild of crusaders donning red cloaks with their leader stepping to the forefront with a distinct scar pattern over his eye. The leader of the Holy Land guild with her army and sundial staff happens to be one of the strongest of all. A hooded warrior with a mask leading the Righteous Bandits Guild, known for their thievery, arrived from another side of the game lobby. And finally, from another direction, the Castle Arden Guild get the attention of everyone with their loud battle march with their ruler leading the way. All the players in the lobby are dumbfounded that 5 of the most powerful armies are all in one location there. The leader of the Castle Arden Guild screams out to all the armies. Considering the threat level, they should all form an alliance to catch the infamous murderer. War is on! With a weapon like this, seemingly either one of or the most powerful weapons within all of Chronolife, it makes sense that so many armies were gathered to take down our main character. Gawking at his new ego rank plus 99 wooden stick, there is a power-hungry grin on our main character's face that eventually turns into a manic laughter. Everything he has dreamed for his existence within Chronolife is quite literally in the palm of his hand. In an unexpected turn of events, a somewhat familiar yet ghoulish ghost appears from the wooden stick, who shares the same elation our main character had right before the ghost appears. The ghost says in both an obedient manner and in excitement that the main character is displaying so much joy. Before the ghost could say anything more, our main character is shocked to his core and screams out, "What the freak?" Flabbergasted our main character is, he inquires why in the world his weapon all of a sudden has a face. Then demands to know who and what the ghost actually is. The ghost smiling back replies that he is Urus, the same twin-headed monster he battled in the abyss of death. Our main character thinks to himself, "How?" Then flashes back to his battle as he stood face to face with his former foe. Seeing the menacing look he once had and now some seemingly childish miniaturized version of Urus is talking to him floating out of his weapon. Urus reminds him that he relinquished his soul to our main character and merged it with his weapon, which ultimately gave it the power of ego rank and infinite durability. Surprisingly, our main character, Urus, floats off the wooden stick and is asked how is he merged with the weapon, yet able to separate from it. Urus explains that having an ego-ranked weapon only allows the owner of the weapon to both see and hear the soul that merged with it. The flyer manages to float right between the two, causing them to stop and wonder what is on the front page. Stunner. Our main character's mug shot on a wanted poster with a massive reward to the person who brings him in. His nerves are kicking in trying to understand what is going on, and then looks up to see the wind blowing hundreds of these posters all over Chrono Life. Going through town and trying to eat his turkey leg with a somewhat stealthy approach, our main character sees his face in every direction. Wanted posters in front of businesses, back alleys, and the in-game store. Pick any direction and his mug shot is there clear as day. Urus screams in excitement, though our main character is the only person who can hear it, stating how strong our main character is considering he killed off over 800,000 people within a single strike. Urus, even back when he still had his physical form, could not even fathom the power. Urus continues by stating that 8 million to bring our main character in is impressive considering how much that is both the game and what that converts to the player who brings him in. Stuffing his face and looking at Urus with curiosity, he asks Urus, considering you are just a character developed within the game and not an actual player, how is it that he knows real money in the outside world? He further asks about in-game characters not being allowed to speak on the real world and why he is doing so. Urus lets out a big sigh and proclaims his is technically already dead. So at this point, who cares? Urus then directs the conversation towards how exactly is his master going to escape from this bounty. With such a large amount of money put on our main character's head, Urus states that any and every one in Chrono Life will be coming for him full force. Urus in a sinister fashion suggests that his master considers wiping out every human within Chrono Life to avoid being captured. Barely paying attention, our main character with a mouthful of food thinks to himself in almost a proud way, "Wow, over 800,000 player killed." He asks himself if that was due to when he first dropped his newly crowned plus 990 wooden stick. He continues to observe the environment, seeing his face on posters everywhere, and does not show the same shock or nervousness he displayed before. He begins to laugh and tells Urus that he kind of feels like a celebrity, and that he kind of likes it. He then states, considering what has happened, perhaps he should just continue through Chrono Life with hidden overpowered persona. Urus stands back with confusion and asks why take that approach. Our main character explains that he would still look like some newbie in the game, but having this enormous power hidden. Urus is further confused and inquires what's the point of hiding the powers. He continues to say that human beings are the type to consider someone inferior if they are classified weaker than them. Cocky in his chuckling, he tells Urus that there is much he has to learn when it comes to the human psyche. He proceeds to tell Urus that in plenty of movies and comics, the not-so-intimidating and even weak-appearing characters end up being some of the most overpowered main characters. As our main character is finishing up his statement, out of nowhere, an arrow pierces his back and right through his abdomen, with Urus shocked in what he just witnessed. Wouldn't be surprised if that was the same spot he was stabbed by the goddess of life. Coughing up blood from the seemingly fatal attack, he falls flat on his face. Is he dead? Could this really be happening to someone so powerful? Urus looks down over his master and asks if he is okay. Urus looks up to see the satchel of bows that matched the one that pierced his master's body, a majestic bow only held by one who is deemed worthy. And as Urus sees the one wielding the bow, the leader of the guild sent to capture our main character, stands from above as he witnesses his perfect shot that landed. Hawkeye, the top commander of the guild alliance. Hawkeye's soldiers march from every direction towards our main character as he lays face down and completely helpless. They have him completely surrounded from ground level to the rooftops of the surrounding buildings, all with their bow and arrows in place and ready to shoot. Hawkeye screams out and declares that as the top commander that our main character is to be locked up with the keys destroyed for the murder of 800,000 plus players. Hawkeye's army screams out their compliance, and are ready to bring in our main character. Urus, breaking a sweat from all his nerves, tells our main character that he needs to get up and get up now. The army surrounds our main character, not at all seeing Urus as he can only be seen by his master. Our main character is alive indeed, spitting up blood from his mouth as he struggles to lift himself off the ground. One step at a time. Up to his knee, then willing himself back up to his feet as he is barely able to stand. The army can't believe what they are seeing. How is it that he is able to rise? Understanding that our main character is no normal player, Hawkeye yells out his command to his army to not give our main character an inch. Attack! Attack! Hawkeye yells out. Urus witnessing from every direction, all the soldiers in the army with their bows cocked and battle weapons ready to strike. Rage is beginning to build up in our main character, as he tells Urus to disregard what he said before about hiding his powers in plain sight. He pulls the arrow out from his midsection and tosses it aside as there is no visible sight of injury to his abdomen anymore. There it is, the ego rank plus 99 wooden stick, firmly grasped in his hand as he stares down the challenge that stands before him. He realizes that he must expose his true power. It's back. The bloodthirsty look in our main character's eyes the same way when he reminisced about getting his revenge on all those who did him wrong. He lets them all know that what's to come is the doing of Hawkeye and his army. And just like that, one strike, and the ensuing eye-blinding glowing flash accompanied with a catastrophic blast has Hawkeye and his army witnessing their lives flash right before their eyes. The sheer power from this one blow causes a massive explosion that not only destroys everything within plain sight but quite literally, rocks the whole world. The aftermath. All of the soldiers that Hawkeye deployed to capture our main character lie dead. He manages to survive as he was not in the direct blast but obviously compromised. Not understanding what just happened, Hawkeye questions what just happened. What lies before him has him completely in shock. Every single one of his soldiers dead. He looks further to even a bigger unwanted surprise. The capital of the First Kingdom is no longer there. Destruction. As our main character approaches Hawkeye with the stomp of his foot into the ground to get him to stop looking for the capital and soldiers that were once there. Fear. Staring into the eyes of our main character who still stands shamelessly with no pants or worry, Hawkeye quickly scrambles to grab something within his inner pocket. His trump card. The Orb of Calling. This item in Chrono Life allows the one who possesses the orb to summon as many people of the possessor's liking to his exact location, instantly. He breaks the orb to activate this power of summoning in pure desperation. A bright blue flash emanates from the ground beneath Hawkeye. Then all over the flash appears with the summoning symbols on the ground glowing bright. He makes his decision. He knows the ones he needs to summon, and he yells out his summoning of all the leaders and soldiers of the World Guild Alliance. The glow from the light shines brighter as the air becomes severely dense. And in an instant, from all directions, armies gathered from all over the world appear and all stare in the same direction. Our main character, showing minimal concern, observes what stands before and around him. Battle-tested and ready, the soldiers surround our main character at a scale unimaginable. Soldiers representing every single part of the world, just a little over 300 million, form into one coordinated unit, and ready to take down our main character. With a bit more confidence than Hawkeye displayed right after his army was destroyed, he stands tall and gets ready to call out his order. The emotion is evident as Hawkeye screams for every soldier to strike. As ordered and expected, they all lunge forward with malice intent. Our main character, with a sense of calm, lets out his last exhale, then raises his weapon to levy what has been witnessed before. Slice! Right through a portion of the World Guild, sending many of soldiers to their deaths. Through the eyes of Urus, he is devastated himself at the magnitude of power his new master possesses. Reaching back to swing again, he delivers a slashing blow, wiping out another large portion of the World Guild. And back through the eyes of Urus, stunned, he looks back to when he saw his master laying and appearing dead to now, laying destruction on the world's biggest army combined. Urus, in complete analysis mode, thinks back into even when he was in physical form and also the strongest boss monster in all of Chrono Life. Even then, would he not be able to take on an army even a fraction of the size our main character is facing now? And that is including if he summoned his entire Urus Legion. To add to his analysis, he takes into account not only the amount of soldiers he is up against, but also the quality. These armies are comprised of some of the most highest ranked players in all of Chrono Life. Yet there he stands. Urus understands that his new master is the exception to the rule. Another coordinated attack from the guild, as they lunge forward with their royal golden spears coming from all sides. The leader of this army, with his Blood Moon Royal class sword, only rewarded to the worthy and elite, leads the charge. Nearing our main character, he stands unfazed and expressionless, to the menacing smile created with his newfound power coursing throughout his body. Impact. Instant defeat in the form of a quick death. Our main character slays the soldiers before him while killing off every soldier that stood behind them a quarter-mile back. Appears as one of the other leaders of the guild, Abracadabra, the most powerful magician of the royal family, chanting as she begins to cast a spell of some sort in a different tongue. What appears from the blinding glow, appears 6 other soldiers with their magical battle staffs, and in unison, cast a spell while combining their powers. Intrigued stands our main character, as he anticipates what's to come. In the sky above him is the ancient magic symbols of death. As our main character and Urus look up at the symbols in confusion, Abracadabra yells out the ancient chant for disintegration. The ancient symbols of death that appears above our main character reacts to the chant, and begins opening a gateway in the center. He sees what is to come. From the center of the gateway, out comes a beam of destructive magic combining the powers of the 6 magicians along with Abracadabra. They believe our main character stands no chance. Our main character looks up and thinks to himself that he too should have a trademark name for his attacks the same way Abracadabra did with the ancient disintegration. The beam nearing, he declares right then and there that he is going to name his attack as he draws his powerful wooden stick. Slashing in an upward motion with his weapon, without much thought into picking a name for his attack, our main character yells, "Swing up!" Rocking the world again, his power shoots right through the magician's attack and straight into space. The ancient magic symbols of death is shattered across the center before crumbling into pieces and falling from the sky. Beads of sweat falling down Abracadabra's face in fear, wondering how anyone could overcome such an attack. Abracadabra orders her soldiers to form another set of the ancient symbols of death. As they comply and begin to cast their magic, they point their staffs towards our character as he raises his weapon up. With another quote-unquote thought-out attack name, our main character this time screams out, "Swing down!" His final attack lays down the finishing blow and killing the magicians that stood before him, while also killing the rest of 3 million soldiers and leaders that Hawkeye summoned. This was no war. This was a bloodbath. Surprisingly, Hawkeye was the only one of 3 million to survive up until this point. On his knees, defeated and shaken to his core, he goes into shock as he continues to repeat, "There's no way, there's no way." Our main character suddenly appears before Hawkeye as he tells him that he is alive only because he wanted him to be. Confused and in fear, Hawkeye asks if our main character is going to spare him, and if so, why? Our main character looks off and laughs, telling Hawkeye, "Why else would I have kept you alive last?" He reminds Hawkeye that he was the one who shot the arrow that went through his body. Hawkeye, realizing his fate, before he could even get another thought in, wham! Our main character delivers a blow to the side of his head which, to no surprise, accompanied a massive blast sending his dead body off into the universe. Victory is sweet. The most historic battle in all of Chrono Life's existence was being talked about all over, for better or for worse. The aftermath is catastrophic. Staring down at his ego-ranked wooden stick, Ura's soul reappears from within the weapon as he congratulates his master on his victory. Our main character almost forgot for a second that Urus is now a part of his weapon as he wondered where he went off to. The sound of a footstep from behind catches our main character's attention as he turns to see if it was even possible for one of the soldiers to still be alive. Clearly feeling upset that there would even be a survivor. However, as he begins to make out what seems to be a familiar silhouette, he stands face to face with the oncomer and realizes. There she is, the very girl who lured our main character into the forest to kill him and eventually become the goddess of life. Lost for words, he sees before him the one person in all of Chrono Life he wants to kill most as she stares back with confidence and grin. She speaks, telling our main character, "It's been too long, rookie."